Hey, what's up, everybody? To another episode, a movie review episode of Media Chop Up. My name is Serge. I got a special guest that's going to come on the show. We're going to talk to you, but let's get started with this show. Media Chop Up starts now. What's up, everybody, to a brand new episode of Media Chop Up. My name is Serge, aka Sergerilla, and I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, Jason.
What's going on, Serge? It's
What's
good
up,
to be
brother?
here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Jason's a good friend from work, and he has proven to be a huge movie buff. He knows so much more than I do, which is pretty cool because, like, I take my enthusiasm for movies and opinions, and we kind of bounce it off each other, and we kind of found each other at work in terms of just talking about passions of the film and so on and so on. And he gives me so much insight on awards and actors and all different types of things I don't even think about. So, like, a person like that is very good to have in your corner. So I figured, why not invite him to an episode, and he absolutely was excited to do it. So welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, brother.
The
Thank you.
family
Thanks a lot,
welcomes you.
man.
Unfortunately, we all know that Rick can no longer be with us. He's
Yeah,
watching from the front row, up
definitely.
above. He's definitely missed. I'm definitely shooting out a tribute to Rick right here. I got Rick right here around my neck and on my chest. He's always in my heart. I think about him every single day. So listen. I set a prayer up. Maybe he might join the show later. We'll see. You know. Let's just jump into the episode. So we're gonna do a movie review on the movie Day Shift that's on Netflix with Jamie Foxx. There's so much to talk about it. It was a decent film.
Yeah.
I figured I'd give it a watch because it looked entertaining. It definitely gave me something that we normally haven't seen. Do you agree?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it was a good mix of comedy and horror. I haven't seen that in a while, or maybe I
Definitely.
haven't.
I
Maybe
guess so.
I'm late, but
I guess so.
yeah.
So I must admit that I'm not a huge horror buff. I've watched my share of vampire movies,
Hmm.
but just like zombie films, I tend to kind of like feel like it's been done already. So I might like I haven't seen all of them. So I figure we'll start off the episode by talking and paying a little homage to some of the best vampire movies ever made. I
Hmm.
can't I can't say that I've seen all of them,
Me either.
but oh yeah, okay, good. So I
Yeah,
don't
there's
feel
a lot.
I don't
There's a
feel
lot I
horrible.
missed.
But at the same time, like I put like a little bio on each one.
Okay.
So let's get this party started. So the first one, and it's in no particular order,
Hmm.
but the first one I'll pay homage to, the vampire movie, which I think is a very popular one, which is where'd you go? Come on.
Lost Boys.
There we go. The Lost Boys, right? A teenage
Hmm.
boy falls for a girl at his high school who happens to be the girlfriend of the leader of a gang of vampires. His younger brother and his geeky friends are called upon to rescue him from. Like, do you remember this? Have you seen this?
I saw it a long time ago.
Mm.
Yeah, back in the VHS days.
I mean,
But
honestly, all these movies are pretty much from the VHS days.
yeah, but
But
it's one of those cool '80s movies. It has that cool '80s vibe.
cool
A
'80s
lot of great
movies,
stars there.
a lot of stars in it.
Hmm.
I forgot his name. The main star right there in the
Jason Patrick,
Jason Patrick. No, I'm talking about in the blonde.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Southern, definitely
Yeah,
one of the guys from wait damn,
but Stand By Me.
no. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about excellent party time.
Oh,
Uh, I,
Wade's World.
wait, no, I got it all messed up
That's
then.
what that's what
No,
Wade's
I'm
World.
I'm just embarrassing myself. That's all I'm doing. Is this Stephen Dorff right there? Is that Stephen Dorff?
Stephen Dorff. It could be. Yeah.
I talked about him in another episode, in a horror episode, when he was a kid in the movie The Gate.
The Gate.
So yes, So
Awesome movie.
it's an awesome movie. That movie, Hollywood is big into copycats, and they try to mimic the look
Yeah.
of Elliot from E.T. because it did so well.
Right.
So,
Right.
so when Stephen Dorff was a kid, they cut his hair to look like Elliot from E.T. So
Wow.
I remember that, but like this was his first big movie as a young guy, you know.
Right. Right.
So definitely big. So we'll keep it moving. Daybreakers, have you seen this?
No.
A plus cast. I haven't seen it either. William
Mm.
Dafoe, Ethan Hawke. I definitely got to check this out.
Wow.
Right,
There's some great actors there. I haven't seen that one.
Fright Night.
Night Night. Long time ago. I've seen that.
Fright Night. That's an oldie but goodie.
Yep.
Right. We have one of my favorites, Blade.
Blade.
Now, obviously, Blade is part of the Marvel franchise, but it did so well when it came out. Unfortunately, like the third one got a little diluted and so on and so on. There was
Yeah.
there was contract issues, but Wesley Snipes was awesome, and I love those movies, and it was action packed, and I can still watch it to this day. Next up, we got my computer's going a little slow. 30 Days of Night.
That I saw.
Have you seen?
Yeah. That's with Josh Hartnett.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was surprisingly good.
That movie scared me, and it was based in Alaska, and it gave me a feeling of helplessness.
Yeah.
Of them trying to they were in Alaska in one of those towns, and these bad guys, these vampires were coming, and you could not stop them. So they were badass. All right, this one I'm not so crazy of, and I gotta say, rest in peace to Aaliyah, Queen of the Damned. Honestly, I felt like that was one of the first teenage movies. It was all about Aaliyah.
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy about the storyline, especially in comparison to some of the other ones we've mentioned.
Right.
But I give her her due respect, because this movie is actually I think it's a cult favorite amongst a lot of people.
She definitely had star potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't do not.
What was that big movie she was in again? I'm blanking out.
Romeo Must Die.
Romeo Must Die. Right.
Yeah, that was like early. Jet Li, and everything. Yeah, definitely. Next up, we got Let the Right One In, which I have not seen.
Me either.
But I don't know why it sounds so scary to me. So next we have Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. You seen it?
No,
really? I'm shocked.
I didn't see that.
This is an oldie but goodie classic VHS. Vampire Brooklyn. Yes. So if you think about it, right?
Wow.
Vampire plus comedy, because you have Eddie Murphy. That's exactly kind of what we're going to review today, right?
Right.
You got Jamie Foxx, comedy, and then you got the seriousness of vampires. It's kind of like the same type of theme and idea,
DAYSHIFT is much, much better though.
I think it's more nostalgic.
Having and Wes Craven directed that, surprisingly, but
I didn't realize that. But listen, anybody will fold over to work with the great Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And it was comedic, and it was a lot of things,
Right.
But yeah. Next up, I think we have an all-time favorite in Interview with the Vampire, right?
Yeah.
Now that had a young Tom Cruise and a young Brad Pitt and a young Antonio Banderas and Christian Slater, Kirsten Dunst, like star-studded.
Like a teenager, man.
Have you seen it? Have you seen this?
Yeah. I saw it when it first came out.
Okay, so this movie is one of the best vampire movies, in my opinion, of all time.
Yeah.
This movie I seen in IMAX, my first IMAX movie, Van Helsing.
Oh wow, you saw that in IMAX?
Yeah, it was pretty epic, and
that's a really good one.
It's a little mixture, obviously wolves, vampires, so on and so on. So it wasn't just about vampires, but it was definitely good. This one, I must admit, the next two ones I have not seen, and I apologize to the movie world. Number one is Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I heard a lot of great things about. Yeah. Obviously, when Gary Oldman is one of my favorite actors of all time. It was actually one of Rick's favorite actors. Anthony Hopkins, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves. Like this is all A+ cast.
Yeah.
Even back in the day.
30 years this year. 30 years old.
I have not seen it. Is
Yeah.
it? Try not to throw anything at me.
Yeah. Now I feel old.
Who is Bram Stoker?
Bram Stoker is the author of Dracula.
I figured that. Okay,
Yeah.
just double check it. Okay, all right. So I feel silly, but
And
that's
then
good.
the companion piece to that came out 2 years later. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Uh,
Robert De Niro.
Next up, we have Dracula Untold. Have you seen that?
Nope.
No. Okay, man, you got a lot to catch up with, just like
Yeah.
me. And then, finally, it kind of turned into a vampire movie, but it wasn't. But it was more about the crazy world and imagination of Quentin Tarantino with From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's my favorite right there of all the ones you mentioned.
Okay. Why was it your favorite?
Because it's the way it starts off. You go into that. If you didn't see any TV ads or any posters or whatever, and you went into that movie, the way it begins, you're expecting this high octane road picture with these two guys, these two criminals on the loose.
Yeah,
they're going buck wild. You got they're two brothers. They're constantly at each other's throats. Tarantino is always annoying them.
And you have George Clooney is a bad guy,
right?
Which you don't expect.
And that's really early in his career, because this movie came out in January of '96. So this is like right when he was. I don't know if he was still doing ER at the time, but this is one of his first.
So, right? Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I do remember that. Yeah.
There it goes. It starts off, and then they hold this family for hostage, and they take off the road to Mexico. And when they get to Mexico, to that titty twister, then the movie does a complete
everything. They start noticing things that are weird, but not catching up, and they don't realize that establishment is located on the edge of a pit,
right?
And that pit was actually what do you want to call it? A resting place for all these vampires.
Yep.
So eventually they get locked in. The rest is, you got to watch that story. And that movie was epic for multiple reasons.
Yes.
Forget that storyline. Forget everything we just mentioned. Right. You have the timeless Selma Hayek with a snake, and then she turns into a vampire. And that scene was like burned into the Cinema Hall of Fame. That put her on the map, right? She could.
What about before they even get in there? The welcoming by Cheech Marin.
That is right. That's right. It was weird. It was a lot of things, and Quentin Tarantino also likes to throw himself in movies. But this movie, he had kind of like more of a serious character that was a big part of the story, as opposed to in the past he just kind of just throws himself for a quick little scene or so. But he did fine. He did all right,
Yeah.
But this is what put Quentin Tarantino on the map for me,
True.
But nonetheless, like those are our movies. Let's just jump into our questions about Day Shift. So question number 1. Which vampire movies do they pay homage to?
Well, off. You want to go first?
No, you do. You tell me. You tell me.
Well, right off the bat, as soon as you start watching it, Lost Boys.
Okay.
Right.
What about Lost Boys? How do they pay homage to? Do you know?
There's a scene in Lost Boys. I think in the beginning, it's like if I remember correctly, it's at a boardwalk. And at the beginning of this film, it's at like an amusement park or something, and that reminded me,
definitely,
of Lost Boys. But I gotta skip all the way to the ending, because the last line by Snoop, is from Lost. That pays homage to Lost Boys.
There we go.
He says,
that's what I love about
it. All the vampires.
The damn vampires.
And then at the end of Lost Boys, would they say, what is it, Grandpa? He said one thing about living in Santa Clara, I could never stomach all the damn vampires.
Yeah, so
So right
they pay
away.
homage in that way. Here's the image of that scene with Snoop walking in the distance,
Mm-hmm.
and he basically shoots the same line. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they're paying homage to it. This movie had a spin to the whole vampire idea and world, but then it's paying homage to one of the greats. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was cool.
And
Do you know?
also there's a little homage to it in a few other movies at like the hour. It's close to the hour 30 mark when they're leaving. I think it was at the mall. There's a marquee right at the mall for
Yes.
movies, and it says if you look at it, if you pause it, you'll see it says Lost Boys, RoboCop, Predator, and Full Metal Jacket.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's close to.
Nice.
I wrote it down. It's close to like the one between the 120,
That's a
130
that's a good catch.
mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
As they're
I,
leaving
def-
quickly, you see the marquee and it has those giant.
I definitely got to catch that.
Yeah.
There was a point in the media chop up room that I have on Facebook where I would just still shot a random scene of a random movie and have people guess, and
Uh-huh.
that would be a great scene to have people guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
What movie it's from, but like, yeah,
Right.
that's pretty dope. That's
Yeah.
a very good catch. All right, do you know what else they pay homage to?
When well, one of those movies you mentioned I didn't see, but when Snoop and Jamie enter the Union, when they
Yes.
enter the Chinese Laundry and they enter the Union,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
left side of the wall, there's a big photo of Abraham Lincoln and two axes. So
Yes.
that's Abraham Lincoln, the vampire hunter, I guess. It's
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
off
So
for
that's
that.
this movie right here,
There it
right?
goes.
Abraham
Right,
Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
right,
And
right.
I have a I did some research, and it's actually some other tidbits that are also part of that sequence. So in the
Uh-huh.
scene where Bud, played by Jamie Foxx, and
Mm-hmm.
Big John enter the Vampire Hunters Union, a massive portrait of Abraham Lincoln hangs right beside them. This is a nod to Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter, in which the 16th president of the United States is depicted as a badass vampire slayer. On the wall across the portrait of
Frederick
Frederick
Douglass.
Douglass,
Wow.
which the picture can be spotted, which suggests that along with Abraham Lincoln, the renowned Frederick Douglass was also a vampire hunter in the Day Shift universe.
Wow.
So it's kind of hard to see, but it was hard to still shot that, but I still shot it 3 different scenes and circled the
Uh-huh.
images that were in the office that symbolize that movie and that world.
Okay.
So that was a tough catch. And
Yeah.
when I researched this, I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And now it makes me want to watch Vampire Hunter. I gotta find the time. I got so
Did you
many movies. I got so many movies that people are just kind of just blessing me with, like, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen this? So I gotta find the time. But it's definitely
did
on
you
my
catch
list.
the little nod to the director when they both walk in and I think it's right as they pass that photo with that big Abraham Lincoln painting or whatever on the PA system. You hear J.J. Perry to trade counter, J.J. Perry to trade counter.
I did hear that.
So they were able to, put a little nod in there to the director of the film right in there, yeah, over the speaker,
Oh,
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that went over my head. But
yeah. Because when I
I
first watched half of it on the tablet, I told you
yeah,
I was going to watch the whole thing again. I
yeah.
watched it in the living room TV with the sound up, and I caught, yeah, that was one
Question.
thing I
So
caught.
as you're watching and catching these things, do you pause it and take notes?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay,
took notes.
good to know.
My
Good to
memory
know.
is not how it used to be. Believe me,
No,
I, I took
definitely.
the notes.
Okay, let's see what. Well, let's go to our next question. Our next question. Hold on, let me find it. All right, next question. Question number 2. What do you think of Snoop's character?
Man, let me tell you something. I
Big John,
any
Big John,
movie,
Big
Big
John,
John.
Big John. All right,
Any movie Snoop shows up in is a treat, right? He pops up there, man, and
I'll show some images of him. Here's
yeah,
Snoop right
there you
here.
go.
Okay, right. Then
I love his
you got
character.
him with the big rail gun right here,
Right.
getting ready to get busy. Look at that face right there,
Hmm.
right? focus, right? And
But
okay,
but
okay,
I don't know if it's necessarily a problem. I wanted more of his character. He's basically He bookends the movie. He's at
he
the
does.
beginning. He's at the end. Right.
Mhm.
I would have, if it was personally, I would have liked to see more. I would have liked to seen him and Jamie together, and maybe have that.
Mhm.
What's his name? Seth. Dave Franco.
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco in the no. Imagine this: you got Snoop, you got Jamie, and you got Dave Franco in the backseat
Well, the thing is
annoying
this:
the two of them.
I can see that. I can see that, but Dave Franco and Jamie Foxx are both professionals. They
Yeah.
were both able to freestyle off each other
Mm.
many parts for the movie. I have some footage that I'll show you later. You can see a little bit of that. But I give Dave Franco a whole lot of respect for the
Yeah.
movie, for the movies he's been in, for his comedic part in this, because his comedic part was very Herbie,
Hmm.
right? But he played it well.
He played
Jimmy
it well. He played it
he
well.
played it well. I enjoyed it. Um, I was curious to see where they went with it. Now,
Hmm.
I'll be honest with you. One of my first thoughts when it came to Snoop was don't fuck it up. Right? Now listen, he's been in a few movies, right? I heard he was in another vampire movie as well, right? That's what I heard.
Well,
Snoop. But I haven't
uh,
seen it. I
yeah, I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it.
it. I
So
remember him as Jimmy Bones.
I can't.
Remember Jimmy Bones?
Where's that from?
Bones.
Where's that from? It sounds
You
familiar.
never seen Bones? The movie Bones?
Yes, I did see that a
He
long
played
time
like
ago.
a
A
pimp
long
that
time.
they killed and he came back from the
Yeah,
dead.
but that's his real personality. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's like Eminem playing
So
Eight Mile.
that
Eminem,
wasn't much of a stretch for him.
Eminem and 8 Mile. You were like, bro, that's your life. Like, are you really acting? You know.
Right.
So like Snoop as a pimp, it's like, bro, look at your
And
head. You kind of
Trading
you.
Day, he was selling crack.
So Training Day, I think he did well.
Right.
He played a dude in a wheelchair selling drugs, and he had to discard it. And then he was like calling the freaking cops pigs, and
Yeah.
he basically shows how the cops are being corrupt, and he's reacting to them. I
Mm.
think he did an A+ job in that movie,
Oh yeah.
but it was short. It
It
was
was
short.
very short.
So
Yeah.
I was curious to see how much film time, how much screen time they were going to give him in this movie, right? I think he did very well.
Yeah. He did.
But like you said, book it a little bit here,
Yeah.
a little bit there. You know, they kind of like talk about his reputation. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like very much I'm a badass, like this right here. I'm a badass, right? That's that
Right.
I'm a badass pose, right? He's a
Right.
vampire hunter, which you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it was forced. It wasn't bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'll be honest with you. You put too many people that don't have enough acting experience in movies, I
Mm-hmm.
lose interest. I lose interest mid movie. You know,
Okay. Right.
I hate to put it out here, put it out there, but you put like a Cardi B in a movie, you already ruined it for me. She has no acting chops. God, do what you
Right. So
do.
you
But
saw Hustlers then.
yes, I mean that was a true story, bro. But she did that in real life. So
Yeah.
was she really acting? No, I'm talking more about they put her in like Fast 95, whatever number they're up to right now with Fast
Oh
and the
man. I
Furious.
lost track. Yeah. I stopped at like
Yeah, like she's
7. I stopped.
that stuff don't work for me. But in one of the in the movies in one of the clips I play later, you're gonna see Snoop Dogg doing some choreography with fighting, which is so. Listen, camera angles do everything. They can
Right.
make it
Right.
look like you know how to fight. You don't know how to fight.
Right.
But whatever. We'll see. All right, let's move on to anything else you want to touch on with Snoop?
Well, one more thing. Even though it was a supporting role he played, like I said, he was booked. Do
Mhm.
you feel that I don't want to give away too much, but do you feel the ending suggests that
Yes,
maybe
yes, more.
his character might
Y-
be bigger
Yes,
in a sequel.
They leave you thinking one thing, and then they surprise you, and then they leave you with new questions, right? So I think that's cool. I think this movie can continue on.
Yeah.
You know, how Jamie Foxx was able to keep from his family that he was a vampire hunter is beyond me. How she didn't understand that there were really vampires in the same town she lived in was beyond me. This
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
world that they made. But
Right.
but I'd be interested in seeing more
Mm-hmm.
with the
Mm-hmm.
right cast, right? And
Because
the right script.
yeah, because they keep mentioning El Jefe.
Mhm.
Maybe the part two will be El Jefe. You
There's,
know.
there's a hierarchy of
Yeah.
vampires,
Right.
and usually, like with other movies, it's a lot more simpler. Like they actually kind of gave it different chapters and different levels that you progress.
Right.
This movie, I'll be honest with you, gave me a very much of a feel of the movie R.I.P.D. It gave me the feel of Men in Black.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And anything else that it give me a feel of? That's mainly it. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
It gave me a feel of that type of world where there's like a secret government that has a chapter that handles bad guys. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Whatever. All right, let's go to the next question. Next question. What types of vampires are in Day Shift? Now they introduce a whole lot.
Yeah.
They definitely introduce a whole lot. Do you know the names of all the vampires that they introduced in this?
Yeah. Jesus.
What?
Jesus.
Jesus? What do you mean?
By that, when Seth, I don't know if this was intentional or what, but when Jamie asked Seth in the truck, hey, you know what kind of vampires they have? You know which one?
Yeah.
The order that he mentions it spells out Jesus, the first letter of each: juvenile, Eastern, Southern, Uber, Spider.
Are you kidding?
Jesus.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Not
Really?
kidding.
I missed that. Yo, that's deep as hell.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that couldn't have been intentional. The order that he says it, you know.
How'd you even come to realize this? Research, or did you see this
No,
yourself?
when I saw that question was going to be on this podcast
Okay.
about the vampires. So
Yes.
as I'm watching it, when he asked him, um, hey, okay, how many vampires are there? What kind of vampires are there? And he tells him the order is when I wrote it out, I was
Bro,
like, wait a minute.
bro, I gave you
JESUS.
the questions that I was on this podcast, and I didn't catch that.
Oh
I,
shit.
that's deep, bro. I'll give you kudos in that one. So what were the different types of vampires that they mentioned?
You have the juvenile,
Juvenile.
right?
Uh-huh.
Those are like the zombie ones, right? When young vampires or whatever.
Those are
Yeah,
the
East,
most the most the weakest. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Those are like
Eastern.
Eastern. What does that mean? I don't
Those are
know.
the ones with the fangs in front like this or something like that.
Did they were they trying to do like an East versus West type of thing? I don't know.
Could
Forget.
be.
Okay.
Then you had Southern,
Southern, like the Southern.
Uber, or that
I
Uber.
think
Those are the most
I
powerful.
think they were naming rappers, but okay, again,
You got the Uber, which is
they
those
drive
are the
they drive
badasses.
they drive Uber cars.
Yeah, they're the
Like
ones that
what does Uber mean though?
powerful. All I wrote down is that they could survive decapitation,
That's right.
right?
That's important for the movie because you see a little bit of that. Uh-huh.
And then the last one is Spider.
No, you missing one.
I missed one.
Yeah,
Juvenile, Eastern, Southern, Uber, Spider.
one of the most important, which is what Jamie was looking for.
Oh my God, I'm blanking out.
Because ultimately, Jamie Foxx was in this world where he had to earn some money at the last second to keep his family from moving away.
Right.
And the way he was able to do that was to take out and kill vampires and extract their fangs.
Mm-hmm.
And the type of the category of vampire would show when they look close at the fangs. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I don't know a tree and how tree has different. You could tell how old it is by
Right.
looking at everything, and it has different layers and so on and so on. And the more layers it has, the older the tree is, and so on and so on. It's kind of the same thing, except you get more money for the older
For the older
vampires.
fact.
So the other type of vampire that you didn't mention was the elder
The elder.
vampire.
Okay.
The
Okay.
elders. They talk about that. So
Hmm.
and that was interesting. Do I have any images? So here's some images of some of the vampires in this right here. You got this crazy looking chick, right? Which that opening scene was off the hook.
Yeah.
Was off the hook. She was
Yeah.
badass.
Uh-huh.
And look at John Franco right here, looking terrified as fuck right here. He has a little neck thing to keep him from biting him. You got this chick who was part of the circus, right? I'll touch on that a little bit. You got this chick who was like the bad guy of the story, and then her mother, which is right here. She was angry. She was definitely angry, you know. But I liked it. I liked the hierarchy of everything. It was interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the cast. So over here we had Jamie Foxx making good. Making good. I could have did without. You know, she didn't really have a really big part. She was just part of the motivation of what
Right.
drove Jamie Foxx to have to urgently earn some cash.
Right.
Snoop Dogg, he was a fellow vampire hunter.
Right.
Carla Souza, she was a bad guy. Dave Franco was part of the union, and then he ended up getting teamed up with Jamie Foxx, which was hilarious. The two of them together. Steve Howie. Steve Howie. I want to give a big shout out to Steve Howie because do you know where Steve Howie was from?
No.
Shameless. Steve Howie was from the show Shameless. Have you ever watched the show Shameless?
No.
What? Oh my god! A gazillion seasons. It just recently ended. He played I don't know. I just certain actors who I like in series. I want to see what they do outside of the series, and I haven't really seen him in a lot of really big things. I really enjoyed him in this role, in an action type role. He was a fellow vampire hunter, and he was teaming up and so on and so on. And I thought he was great. I thought he was really good. I give a huge shout out to Steve Howie. I want to see what else he's a part of, but that's basically it. All the other people, there were other bad guys, like Oliver Masucci.
I think what's her name, Carla. She did a good job as Audrey, pretty much. She was, there's a great scene where she comes out of the house and there's some roses and she just makes them die.
Listen, she was a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And basically, they introduced the whole concept of kind of like in Blade, where you have vampires that are able to live in the sun. Same principle. Like the vampires were finding ways to basically live in the sun. And she was actually working out. She was a realtor, and she was working ways to buy more property to ultimately find places for these vampires to live. So in the valley, and basically so they can multiply and so on and so on. Listen, what do I feel about her as a bad guy? The movie was decent. Listen, let's talk about the movie real quick. That opening sequence had me open as hell. I loved what they did with the opening sequence. When Jamie Foxx goes up against this vampire right here, and then all of a sudden he's fighting these chicks, and they're contorting and doing like some Matrix ass moves, I was blown away. I felt like this is a nice creative spin. What they did, it reminded me very much of Army of the Dead. In Army of the Dead, they have the running zombies, but in Army of the Dead, they literally hired a team of what are they called? All the people that run full speed and jump from monument to monument. What are they called? And they make these hard jumps, and then like they jump like from really high to really low, but then they find a way to bounce off the wall and then roll and everything. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
They hired a bunch of those people, dressed them up as zombies in that movie. That's what this movie reminded me of, and that's where they were unique. They got contortionists, and a lot of the stuff they did was creepy as hell. So when you're shooting them or when you're fighting with them, they had a defense that was like crazy. And then you got these contortionists that are walking backwards and everything. It was creepy. It was creepy as hell, but it was interesting and it was a nice spin on things. So like I enjoyed it.
And like in Lost Boys, when they were provoked, their facial features changed. You know?
Yes. Like, instantly, yeah. So like it was always there. But in this movie, they talk about the lifeline, and the lifeline was their teeth. And they were very, very protective of people who prey on vampires to take their teeth. So this movie was a big part of that. So how about I bless you guys with a behind the scenes of DAYSHIFT. It shows you a lot of the behind the scenes of their stunts and everything, so you get to see them in action. So let's enjoy this bad boy right here. Here we go.
Your album cover's coming right up. Who's sitting how to do One package.
Tell him, Jay. Okay. Oh, shit. I see you. He didn't know, did he? He didn't know.
I'm not supposed to kill you yet, but you've been a real pain in the ass. I'm not supposed to kill you yet, but you've been a real pain in the ass.
Buckshot mouthwash, baby.
And now,
Paul!
oh my God. Hand.
What do you
Man.
think?
I'll tell you one thing: when you see behind the scenes stuff like that, it really goes to show how important those sound engineers are after they shoot
There's,
everything.
there's a lot of talent, man. I love
Yeah.
the cinematography. I noticed how they move the camera angle for certain things that didn't look as smooth.
Right.
They take the camera off of it and then just jump back into it. It's an art form, and stuff like that. I love to watch, but it's amazing how in the before, you're like, it looks like they're playing. It doesn't look that serious. It looks like they're practicing. Meanwhile, when they put it in the movie and they add everything, the sound effects and everything, they make it look so badass. So kudos to those guys who do the editing and who add all those special effects to it, because it makes a big part of the movie. It makes it so dramatic. But that was a cool little thing that you saw. What'd you think about Snoop's little fight scene?
Oh man, Snoop for his age is doing pretty damn well, man. You know what I mean?
How old is Snoop?
Wow, Snoop has got to be 50 something.
Right? He's not really 57.
Really?
Because if you think, like in dog years, right? He's if he's a vampire, how old is he really? If he's 57 in human years, that means he's like 20 in vampire years. I don't know. I just made that up, but nonetheless,
Man.
Editing,
But that was a nice
editing could do anything. Editing could do anything. So, all right. So, shoot me what you think out of 5. Best out of 5 is the best. 1 or 0
out
is
of
the
5.
worst. What do you give it?
I would give it a solid 3.
A solid 3.
Solid 3. I would have liked to have seen more of Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
You see, I don't want to be comparing movies. Each movie is, like comparing it to other vampire movies. I would have liked more of the vampires to have more character. A lot of them are just like pop-up targets, and then they pop up, they get killed,
and they don't really touch on
right.
El Jefe.
We're right, and then as in other vampire movies like Lost Boys, I mean, you see how those characters are written, even in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Those are really like submerged in the vampire world. Right. That's what that movie was about. It was from that perspective, right? In and out. This is more like that's the bad guy. You take him out. This is what we're dealing with. It's more from the viewpoint of Jamie Foxx, right?
And one of the high points is definitely Franco. He's great in just about every scene.
He is.
He's the comic relief for most of the film, anyway.
He is. And then and in case you didn't know, James Franco, which is a bigger star, than his brother, has been in more movies, and his definitely. Brother shows that he has acting chops as well.
Did you see The Disaster Artist?
No.
It's with both the brothers.
No, I've never seen that. Really?
It's about the guy who's always been considered made the worst movie of all time, called The Room. And basically the movie is about him and making that movie called The Room. Look it up. Go into YouTube and you'll see.
Send it to me. I'll add it to my list, and I promise
The Disaster Artist. Yeah,
and I'll watch.
He's great in that too.
And for any of you out there, if you have any opinions on things that you feel like I should watch, or you want to check if I watched it, let me know, and we can talk about it later. Yeah. I definitely love doing that. But I definitely gave it the same thing. I gave it a 3 out of 5 movie review. Obviously, Rick agrees with me on that one. It was a decent movie. Pros and cons with it. I love the whole aspect of the contortionist. It made it badass. It was creepy as hell. It made it feel different. Obviously, this is we mentioned countless vampire movies, so it's a lot to contend with. It's not one of the best, but it's an entertaining movie.
Entertaining.
So, like, if you have a little time, check it out. It was definitely decent. It's definitely good. Comedic relief between Jamie Foxx and Franco was great. Fight scenes were decent. Were pretty good. Snoop Dogg.
And they could definitely go. They could take it even further.
And they could take it further. Yeah. So let's see where they go with this.
Yeah.
I'm curious where they go. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
If they do go further, I'm hoping Snoop is in it more.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Do you believe he has acting skills, or do you believe he's serious
I think
enough?
he could carry a. I think he could, like you said. I know Bones wasn't much of a stretch because he plays a pimp that comes back from the dead, and it's kind of like the Crow in the ghetto. You know, it's you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he has the potential to carry an entire film if they go with a part 2.
Whoa, you said carry an entire film.
Yeah.
You're saying
Didn't you see Soul Plane? No, Soul Plane.
Whoa, you did not quote Soul Plane. But like, are you comparing them to the likes of Jamie Foxx?
No.
To the likes of
who's
who else is multidimensional? The Rock.
Yeah.
Even though whatever. I'm
talking this character that he played was so good, even though the role was so small.
Here's a question.
Uh-huh.
Who's the better actor? Snoop? T.I.?
T.I.?
Yes.
He's
been in some action movies. All right, you don't have to answer that now. If it's too much, it's too much. If that's too heavy. Honestly, T.I. is a lot more established. He's been in more movies.
Right.
He's been in more movies. He's been in action movies. Snoop was just a piece.
What I think is just his role was so small and so good that if they base a part 2 around his character, he has more screen time.
I hope it's not cheesy.
I think it'll be good.
I don't think he could be a main man. I think you have to offset him off somebody really good. What they did was a nice little. Okay, I'm reloaded. He had his big gun. He took care of some vampires, whatever. I don't see.
How did he survive? That was UV rays he had or something.
Listen, watch the movie. See what you guys think about it. I don't want to spoil it. We could talk about this on the side. All right. So, Jason, thank you for joining us. I look forward to us doing more reviews together.
It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I want to get in the habit of kind of just doing certain reviews. I definitely want to do Black Panther, the new one. I feel like we owe that to him and to the franchise and so on and so on. So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, hit us up in the room, hit us up via text, whatever. We appreciate you. We love the feedback. I think that we're gonna shoot to another buddy of mine so they can send us out on the right note. So thank you, Jason. We'll see you in the next one.
My pleasure,
thank you everybody for watching. Hit us up if you have any questions. Catch you in the next one.
Good night.
Peace.
Do what you love and
love what you do. Later.
Later.
Peace.